President Barack Obama is receiving a great deal of criticism for his stonewalling when it comes to the release of many thousands of documents considered necessary for us to understand the extent and breadth of torture that was conducted under the Bush administration. So the Senate's torture investigation report is done, has been for quite a while, but both the report and a number of supplementary documents have not yet been released. In fact, President Barack Obama has refused to release about 9,400 documents connected to the investigation.
They've been asking for him for 5 years now.
Exactly. And so look, it's seeming increasingly like we're never going to know exactly what happened in that. And as we were talking about during the break, we have both the Senate Intelligence Committee's report on the torture program, and you also have an internal report conducted by the CIA under Leon Panetta that also we have not seen the light of day on. Now we are expecting at some point the document will be released, and in fact President Obama says, I would urge them to go ahead and complete the report, send it to us. We will declassify the findings, talking about the documents we mentioned earlier, so that the American people can understand what happened in the past, and that can help them guide us as we move forward. Which sounds fine, but he has had a number of years to release that information, has not done so. I don't know why we would assume at this point that he's going to.
I don't think it sounds fine. I mean, it depends on what
you're
you
have to classify it.
Right, but what it sounds like is, whatever I declassify, just understand, you can read it, and then we're moving on. Like, I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, so as usual, President Obama is maddening. He ran on the campaign of change, and we're going to stop the torture, and yada, yada, yada. And what does he do? He's been covering up for the Bush administration for 5 straight years. Yeah. Release the goddamn documents to your own Senate so that they can know what's going on. They already wrote a report about it, and here's a great part of this story. So the Senate writes a 6,300-page report that took $40 million to put together, talked to hundreds of witnesses, looked at all these different things, and they have an analysis. It's done. Then they go, okay, now this is incredibly critical of the CIA. The people in charge of releasing this report is the CIA. Yes. Okay, so they have to redact whatever they don't like. Okay, they get to do that. Now, the person who can compel the CIA go, all right, let's go. You've been sitting on it for a year and a half. Put the goddamn report out, and I'll decide what you're redacting was correct or not correct or whatever, is the executive branch, the White House, President Obama. Yeah. And he just lets the CIA sit on it and sit on it. And now that it's a news story, he says, I assure you I will do the right thing, even though I haven't been doing the right thing for 5 years. And there's no reason to believe I'll do the right thing going forward, depending on how much pressure I have. I'm really, really busy covering up for George W. Bush and Dick Cheney.
For some reason.
And that's what everybody gets so frustrated. Like, why? What is wrong with you?
Well, what's wrong? Well, the why, though, is because what he didn't want to do, clearly, it seems to me, is come into office and go to war with the CIA. Like that was just made very clear that was no way for this socialist president to come into office.
Yeah, well, and we didn't just, now it's 5 years. Right. You can go ahead and hold somebody accountable, right, or release the report. You suck, you don't want to do anything, right? You're like pro-establishment, we're tired of you. At least step aside, Butch. Okay, and let us handle this. The Senate's got a report. It's not your report. What he's scared of is if you release a Senate report and it's so damning that the torture did not work at all and that the CIA lied about it, oh, well, then golly gee willikers, since he's the head of the executive branch, they might have to do something about it, and he doesn't want to do anything under any circumstance.
That's the crux of this, is that the report is going to say, yeah, we tortured people, which clearly Americans are going to be okay with. Like, hey, man, they were the worst of the worst. Well, yeah, right?
Well, I mean, we're not okay with it. We elected President Obama, but we're past it.
I know, but we would hope.
More people are going to be okay with it than are going to want. There's not going to be outrage among enough people.
There's not going to be enough outrage.
There's not going to be enough outrage. But what it's going to say is, everything you've now said since September 12th, 2002, about we're going to step up and make this and get all this information, is going to be disproven. It doesn't work, which many people have been saying.
What we know from anonymous sources, that is what the Senate report says, and that's apparently the Panetta report agrees in many ways. The CIA has come out and said that they're holding the report, that it's inaccurate, it's far too harsh on the CIA, but their internal report, from what I've been reading, agrees in many ways with it. But I don't think that we should be really surprised about this, because Barack Obama can be very bold when it comes to certain areas, like speaking out in favor, very bold, speaking out in favor of gay marriage when the tide turns, on pot legalization when the tide turns, but he has never shown a willingness to be courageous when it comes to national security. He is far too afraid of being attacked from the right, and despite the fact that these abuses happened under a Republican president, I don't think that he's willing this far into his term to allow any of that criticism to even secondhand tarnish his administration.
Well, look, I did a story about this great analysis of President Obama earlier in the week by a Yale professor, and I think the takeaway line was President Obama doesn't have convictions, he has preferences, right? So his preference is to show that torture doesn't work. He's against torture. He stopped the torture program. One of the few things he did right, and you should give him credit for, right? And kind of, we still do renditions where we allow other people to torture in our behalf. But okay, whatever. Give him a little bit of credit on that. He would prefer that we prove that it doesn't work. But if it means challenging the CIA and challenging Sean Hannity, what a hassle, right? So he's not gonna do that because he doesn't really have any convictions about it. All he cares about is, the politics as it concerns him. Like, here's what people have to realize, and I think more and more people are realizing on the left, which is that the president does not care about policy, right? He is a politician. And I know they thought he wasn't, that he was above politics, and here's a guy who's earnest, and what a sweet-looking guy with his family, and they got a lovely dog, and they got two, and he seems like he's one of us. He seems like a regular guy. He had a poor mom, a single mom, grew up, not privileged, et cetera, et cetera. But no, he's just a classic annoying politician who only cares about himself and his stupid ass legacy and how much hassle he's going to deal with. And in this case, he feels like, I'm going to be a little hassled by the CIA. They're going to be all over me. And he put John Brennan, his best buddy, as the head of the CIA to cover for the CIA. So he doesn't give a shit about what's right or wrong in torture and what we're going to show and prove. Oh my God, if he had to actually prosecute anybody at the CIA, that would be a giant hassle to him. Yeah. He doesn't want any piece of that.
It's almost as if they're running the government as if it were Target. Like he was the CEO of Target. That anything bad for Target or anything bad for business would make them look bad, their image bad, is just a hassle. And we don't want to deal with anything that's going to compromise our ability to do business. I mean, he has an incredible penchant for maintaining the status quo. He's not a crusader. He doesn't like policy. He's a politician. And politicians are everywhere in business. They basically play games with each other to keep the store open, to make it look good. And you're right, if the report uncovers some malfeasance, they have to do something about it. So it's easier to avoid that. But the difference is that it's a public office. It's not a private company or a publicly traded company. We're a government. We're not to get all crazy on democracy, but or idealistic, but I mean, my God, you have to be into policy. That's why you're president, isn't it?
Well, unfortunately, there's two different set of skills. One is the skill to get elected as president, another is actually being president. They're totally different. And so what we have is people who are really good at politics, who get elected president, who don't necessarily give a damn about policy, because that's not how they get elected in the first place. They got selected because they're good at politics. Yeah. So in fact, it's in some ways a counterproductive system that gives us people who are natural-born politicians who are not geared to do the right thing. In a lot of ways, they're geared to avoid the right thing for their own convenience.
But let's be clear, it doesn't give us what we want, but when you say us, you mean us, not the richest people in the country who give them the money necessary to use their great political skills to get into office in the first place.
I get, whatever. I got it. The money is the problem. But but on the short term, the problem here is I suspect what it'll turn out, and maybe we need another annoying Bob Woodward book. But the fight is going to be with the administration and the CIA, and I think it's going to be a fight that Obama did not have any interest in having whatsoever. Because again, I don't know that he cares. I don't know that he is passionate that it should be out or not. But what I suspect was made clear to him is that what you're going to do on your first day in office or your first year in office is cut off the knees of the first responders in the war on terrorism, the guys who've actually kept us safe, and now you're going to come in and undo it? Good luck. They're not going to support you in anything ever that you do, and you'll be a one-term president.
Well, and also really fast. So we have like the policy debate about what effect it would have on his administration if they were willing to admit perhaps that torture does not actually produce any actionable intelligence. It doesn't actually help us keep us safe. But there's also the real world implications of that. If we don't have that open debate, if we don't have the strongest man in the world willing to say to America, this doesn't do anything and I have the data to prove it, then the next time there's a big attack, when perhaps we'll have a Republican president, we will lapse right back into those useless habits of looking into enhanced interrogation and things like that. And not only will we then do the same abuses, but we then won't be protecting America.
Right.
Like, there's the policy side, but there's also, we want to stay safe. And this isn't literally how you do it.
Right. Instead of stopping enhanced interrogation, he has paused enhanced interrogation.
And it can be unpaused as soon as a Republican president gets into office, or perhaps a slightly more hawkish Democrat, possibly Hillary Clinton.
I want to go further. I'm trying to check myself. But I don't think he cares about keeping us safe. It is his preference that we be safe. He's not against us being safe, of course, right? But if you, and if you ask them, he'd have to answer it the right way. But I think it's just a lower priority for him. The higher priority is my legacy, convenience, political advantage, and way low on that totem pole is keeping us safe.
You know, it diminishes his power to wage war around the country, around the world. Any new information diminishes. When we can't attack human rights in other countries when we've been torturing people around the world.
It already has hurt us. It's already hurt us with
Ukraine as well.
Yeah.
You can't invade other people's sovereignty and then attack others for doing the same. It just diminishes the exceptionalism argument. It diminishes so much of our American mystique and global power and geopolitical power that he doesn't want to be the guy to bring that tarnish to the country.
If he actually cared about had conviction about policy and what to do right, and what he said on the campaign trail was kind of saying here, then you would say to the CIA, hey, listen, you guys tell me, as Ben says, I'm positive that you're right about that the CIA came and said, we got to keep people safe, okay? And you can't go around criticizing us, we're the guys keeping you safe. Then if I was him, I would say, all right, well, I have a 6,300-page report here telling me otherwise, that you guys tortured people and it did not keep us safe. Not only was it wrong, it did not lead to evidence, it didn't lead to bin Laden, it didn't lead to anything, but it was also counterproductive. There was the guy that we did the Egyptian authorities on our behalf did such expansive torture of that we did a fake execution of him. We buried him alive, and he really believed that we were just going to bury him and that was it. And he said, okay, fine, what do you want to know? Okay, fine, we did it with Iraq. I think that's what you want to hear. Fine, we did it with Iraq. And they used that as one of the main pieces of evidence to attack Iraq. And later, of course, it turned out that he was lying, and he was lying so he wouldn't be buried alive. Okay?
Pussy.
Right. So I would tell, if I gave a shit about keeping the country safe and not leading us into the wrong wars, etc., I would tell the CIA, well, you've been monumentally full of shit for the last 10 years, and you have not made the country safer, you've made it less safe, okay? So you want to go to war, I'm the President of the United States. Let's have at it, Hoss, because my job is to make sure we keep us safe, because this isn't Target. Brian is right, okay? I know how that's the brand you want to protect. This matters, okay? And what matters is getting the policy right so people don't get killed. But he doesn't have that kind of courage or conviction or predilection. And he has preferences that he constantly ignores because it would be annoying, it would be a little troubling.